Too Legit to Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast made for people who insist on having Christmas one-shots.
Ooh.
How are you? How are you, Zoop?
Doing okay. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. Are you having a good, festive period, as it were?
Yeah, it's been nice. My brother, sister-in-law, and my niece are here, and she's 2 years old and, light of my life.
Oh, fantastic. Have you been getting up to much?
Nah, just hanging out.
Fair enough. Have you done any gaming at any point over the past few weeks?
Well, it's been a while since we've gotten together. Did I tell you about... I told you about Yuletide Combat Family.
I do believe so. I think you hadn't played it yet, but you were going to. How did it go?
Yeah, it went really, really good. They're on Game Master Monday. I think it's the first Monday of December. Or maybe it was the second one. I don't remember. But if you look, there's Yuletide Combat Family, and it was a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of making up a lot of rules on the spot.
Okay, I mean, what rule system were you?
So, Yuletide Combat Family is originally created by Tim Platt. And basically, instead of there really being any sort of solid dice mechanics, it's really a game where you win by being charismatic. Basically, you convince the GM, whoever is running the game, that you should be the one to win. And it did it on a Super Smash Brothers stage. It's usually very holiday themed, so everybody brings 2 holiday themed people to the fight. Like, it could be the Grinch from the animated Grinch, or it could be like a specific item from a specific year's J.C. Penney catalog, or things like that, or maybe even the J.C. Penney Christmas catalog, like something that is iconically
Christmas
holiday. Yeah, and especially Christmas. And it was weird, running it as a non-Christian. But for me, Christmas evokes memories of multiplayer video games. I did it on a Super Smash Brothers stage. Basically had people roll D100s to see how much damage they did. And at one point, somebody got a fan, rolled a D20 to see how many times they hit with the fan. I don't know if you've ever played Super Smash Brothers, but it has like a very satisfying fan noise. And they hit 17 times, so they rolled 17 D4 to see how much damage they did. And yeah, it was a really good time. It was, I almost want to say like my favorite game of the year.
Nice.
So I deeply suggest, if you were ever to listen to a Game Master Monday episode, that's the one to listen to.
That's the one. All right, and we have now been joined by Misfit. Misfit, how are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Yeah, good. Really good to see you. How's your Christmas going?
It was good. I actually, I got a custom set of dice for one of my home game characters, which is fucking wild. Like, getting it for a stream character is one thing. Like, I've had that happen before, but like a home game character where no one sees me play her on a stage or anything like that is really cool.
Nice. And have you done any sort of Christmas themed gaming?
I did, and it's out for viewership too.
Woo.
Like, you can actually go listen to it. It's the Dewberry's Creatures holiday special where we played what game was it? It's based off Hallmark movies.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's done kind of Power of the Apocalypse style where you get a playbook.
Yeah.
And the roles were like, roll for Coco or roll for Sweater. Like, it was really cute. But yes, it is out. You can actively go listen to it if you want. I recommend it. You don't need to know anything about the show to listen to it, which is really fun. It's a standalone episode, and it is our only not traumatic episode, and I will say that as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't have traumatic Christmas.
Yeah,
I mean, you can, but that's
can, but
for
you're
a
doing it
certain
wrong.
genre of people.
No, we went
Christmas
for
is meant to be
actual
happy.
holiday cheer.
Yeah, I mean, I ran a Christmas-themed Fabula Ultima session, which was a barrel of fun. I presented it as a sort of Guy Ritchie movie where you had Santa had retired from Tinseltown and the Grinch had installed Bad Santa. So it was up to, who was it? It was up to Mariah, who was, the herald of Christmas, Ramsey, who's the chef of Christmas, Krampus, and Fred Claus to install Fred Claus as the new heir to the throne. And it was just so much fun. It was, it was a good laugh.
Krampus was for Christmas.
Yeah, of course he was. He just does it a bit differently, that's all. I think it was more against Bad Santa than for Christmas necessarily.
Well, Krampus needs Christmas to be able to do his own stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, and now obviously starting in the new year, I get back to traumatizing my players with some Delta Green. So, gearing up for that.
Nice.
Walking in like the crow.
100. Yeah,
the sassy crow meme.
You are very crow-esque.
I do feel very crow-like today. I'm not gonna lie.
There is a bit of essence of crow in there.
Yes.
Not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
I'm not complaining. It's been a long time since I've managed to pull that look off, trust me. And now there are no photo proof. There's no photo proof from when I was younger.
Oh, of course not.
I've made sure of it.
Have you, though?
Yeah, I have. You can try searching.
I'm proud of you.
All the platforms that contain said photos no longer exist.
That's how I feel.
As
Everyone's
it should be.
Bring back MySpace. I'm like, no, please don't. Not ever.
It's the benefit of being an old person on the internet. I was there in the days of Bebo.
Yo.
MySpace and Bebo. I remember when you used to load up a MySpace page and it was just so full of script.
Yes.
It would take 4 hours to load one fucking Evanescence song. All right, okay, so let's get into the episode now that we've caught up. So
let's do it.
This is one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but we just haven't, we haven't been able to kind of come together in order to talk about it. If either we're not here, we're not available, or there's conventions, etc., etc. But a while back, and I've actually got the date here, it was on the 6th of November, so...
Oh shit, that was a while back.
A friend of the show, Corey, he sent me something on, I believe this was Threads, and basically his question was, how do you work with someone who wants to play, but they really don't have that narrative switch? They don't know how their character's story, they are not sure how to properly roleplay, has trouble thinking outside of the box. Says, I know people who love board games and want to try tabletop role-playing games, but when they get to it, it feels way too open. So I've kind of taken that idea and kind of put it all into one succinct topic, which is introducing new players to roleplay.
So I thought of something like when you shared this, one thing that specifically stuck out to me about the original question was the comment about people who like playing board games. Because there's people who don't like playing any sort of games, and I think that would be one way. There would be a different way of bringing them in, or people who like playing video games, and I think there would be a different way of bringing them in. But people who like playing board games especially, I was thinking one way I think that you could bring them in to TTRPGs is by taking your favorite board game and making it narrative. So don't make it a TTRPG yet, but make it narrative in that, when you have a board game, whichever board game you're playing, you are performing different actions, and those actions are supposed to represent something. And that's what people are normally selling you the game being like, oh, you get to be tea merchants in India, and that's what your video game's about. Or you get to build a train line, train lines throughout the United States, and you need to beat other people, and that's what the game is based on. A lot of games these days are being sold on, like, you are being this person getting to do this thing. So take that and do all the mechanics of the game, but add a little narrative spin to it. So one of the examples that I have is there was a game called Hexes and something. It was a card game where basically you were a bunch of homeowners in an HOA, and you could play cards to either put magical creatures on your lawn or destroy other people's magical creatures. And, the magical creatures that were on your lawn would have different things. It's a lot like Unstable Unicorns and those kinds of card games. And I remember, like, playing it one time and, like, trying to put, like, a little story to it. So, like, I conjure up, like, a specific, like, a shadow griffin, and, like, but, like, so instead of just playing the Shadow Griffin card, why did you get the Shadow Griffin? Like, what is the story of your family? Why did you get this Shadow Griffin? How do you get him to come live on your lawn? How does he now feel about the other neighbors? Like, what is the story behind his powers? Like, what is he doing with his power? Like, if the power is, like, he gets to zap another creature off of another person's lawn, put a little story to it until you build up this narrative using the mechanics of the game to describe what you're doing based on what the game tells you are. And now you've got a feel for a TTRPG.
That's a really good idea. That is a really good idea. Obviously, I imagine it works better on non-abstract type of board games, because for something like Snakes and Ladders,
these are specifically for the board games where they're like, this is the scenario and you're trying to gain something. Like,
I've played Monopoly and everyone played Greedy Capitalist.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be into that.
Sorry,
I mean, you can even do it with Settlers of Catan. My partner and I were joking about it, how we would, like, if we were trying to trade things with each other, it'd be like, I will trade my son for your son's hand, and you must pay a dowry of, like, 3 brick and 2 sheep, and for that I will give you 2 wheat.
That's actually an AP idea that, that Misfit has just unwittingly come up with. We do a roleplay version of Monopoly.
Oh.
Just like a roleplay,
It would be a very, like, Housewives of something type of thing, I feel like very cutthroat.
Every time you land on something, if there is an interaction, you have to play out the interaction. If you land on go to jail, you have to tell people why. What have you done? One of the other players can pretend to be the cop and arrest you and shit like that.
When you land on the just visiting jail, you have to play out who you're visiting.
You have to play out that scene. It's like, yes.
You're just a bunch of mob families. You're just a bunch of mob families trying to stab each other in the back.
Gangs in New York.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Top Hat, you are going to rot here in jail.
I invite you to Atlantic Ave. Luckily, my family has been building up all of the. It's a shitty place, but we've got some great hotels, and you have nowhere else to go.
I think that sounds like a really good fucking idea. I mean, jokes aside, either that or what's the other one? It was kind of like it was a Monopoly knockoff. It was Hotel or something like that.
I have no idea.
I haven't heard of that.
Let me have a look. See if I can find it. It was a similar sort of greedy capitalist sort of game, kind of like Monopoly, but it was a lot more straightforward.
You could even do it with a game like Don't Wake Daddy.
Yeah,
like while you're like rolling these things, like just add a little bit of narration to like how you're creeping and your asshole sister left like a squeaky mouse on the step and you step on it.
A fucking dog. It's the fucking dog toys.
Yes,
How do
exactly.
you sneak back into the house without waking up your dog?
Okay, so Hotel is a dimensional real estate game created by Milton Bradley in '86.
Isn't it the same people who created Monopoly?
Milton Bradley created Monopoly, but was this just in the UK?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm just bringing up the wiki now. So in Hotel, players build resort hotels and attempt to drive their competitors into bankruptcy. It was re-released by Asmodee in 2014 as Hotel Tycoon, or Hotel Deluxe in some countries.
I like that as like rich crazy Asians. Like I would love an all Asian cast playing crazy rich crazy Asians, all like trying to like one up each other and like drive the other hotels into bankruptcy.
You could do that, but like pretend it's like a Vegas mobster sort of grab everyone trying to make. Yeah, I think that could work.
Yeah, that is just Vegas the game, ain't it?
Yeah. Every player is a mob family.
Yeah. You like come up, you're like, oh yeah, I got Madonna to come do a residency at my hotel to like.
Yeah, and then, if something bad happens and, somebody gets whacked.
Gotta make someone go to sleep with the fishes.
I'm going to write that. I'm going to write something. Because I think that's a brilliant idea. But going back to the original thing, I think that's a really good idea for like board game. The sort of leap between board games and tabletop role-playing games, I think that is a really, really good sort of way to do it. And conversely, I think if people are, into video games, I think the best place to start for TTRPGs is something like Pathfinder or D&D.
For sure. With video games, so like I have experience with this, like not me personally, but like I have helped many people through it. Where what I have found is when people go from playing video games to playing like TTRPGs, like let's say for instance they're playing Pathfinder, they get stuck in the loot everything mindset.
Yes.
So like I have been with GMs who were like, oh, you're gonna loot everything? Well, that's an empty box. That's also an empty box. Oh, there's fruit in that one, but like nothing important, nothing crazy. It's not like Fallout where you open a fridge and there's a minigun.
Alternatively, a game that is I'm pretty sure there are games. I'm gonna look up while we're talking, but I think there are TTRPGs that are based on collecting loot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe I've come across a few in my travels.
Yeah, it's with video game players coming to TTRPGs, they always get stuck in the, well, it's not on rails. Like they don't treat it like sandbox games. They treat it like story mode, like you're just going along with the story games. And that can be a really hard hurdle to get over. I've seen many of new players struggle with it.
It can be, but the way I've seen that dealt with and the way I've dealt with it previously is I've taken the rails away. Because you get somebody who's a video gamer into this hobby, and at some point during their first few sessions, they're going to try to kick the tires. They're going to try to figure out what they can and what they can't do, and going to try and push that envelope. So I'll just go, okay, this is what you're doing. So they want to try something completely outlandish and off script. I let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, so you've done this, you've done whatever it is, even if it's, something to alert. Normally it's attacking. Normally, from what I've seen, I'm going to attack the bartender. Right, you attack the bartender and he dies. You are now being pursued. Now tell me what you want to do. And that becomes a bit of a wake-up call of, shit, I can do this.
But also, oh shit, there's consequences.
There's consequence. I can't, start again.
I miss the days. So they're back in like a while back. I don't remember exactly when it came out. There was a game for the Xbox that was the Fable series. I don't know if any of y'all played it, but I fucking adored Fable because if you did that exact thing, guess what? You would either go to jail or you would have to pay a fine, or you just straight out could not go into that town ever again without having cops on you immediately. And I loved it. That game taught me, like, okay, actions actually do have consequences.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love those games.
There's no reset, and that's
nope.
You know, even in the most sort of free-form video games, there's always a reset. You know, GTA, you do something
you can always
outlandish,
go back to your save spot.
But even without that, you can evade capture for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, it's like you don't exist to the police anymore. Everything's fine, and you can kind of try again. Whereas if you kind of take away that sort of limitation, I find people do kind of gravitate towards TTRPGs a lot easier. But definitely, like, start with the Pathfinders and your D&Ds where there is a specific rule for everything.
Yes, because it'll make the brain happy. And then once you get more comfortable, branch out into systems that are more narrative based.
And, find out also what kind of video games do they like. Because do they prefer, like, a city building video game? Do they prefer a loot collecting video game? Like, that can also help.
So I'm just going through this list that you've posted. So these are... Oh, wow, there's a Street Fighter storytelling game. I've just seen that.
Who wants to go play some Street Fighter TTRPG?
I feel I need to find out more about this in my life.
Please tell me it comes with all of the trash talking, too.
I hope so.
Of course there's trash talking.
If you are... Yeah, you should be able to create a Street Fighter TTRPG with just trash talking.
Straight trash talk.
Let me have a look. Oh, I need to find out more about this game. So, in terms of, like, bringing people into the hobby, because obviously role-playing, people don't role-play immediately. I think that is a learned skill.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree.
So, how I found encourage that in a new player?
I have that issue sometimes whenever I'm trying a new system, especially if it's like a crunchy system with lots of math and numbers. I tend to limit the role play just to learn how to play, and then once I know how to play, I feel a lot more confident role playing.
Yeah, I think learning the mechanics. I mean, I've kind of moved away from certain systems which are more mechanic heavy now. But yeah, I do agree. And if anything, what I'll do is I'll kind of compartmentalize. So it'll be, okay, this is time for roleplay. And then, like, for example, Pathfinder combat starts is like, okay, need to focus on mechanics because there's a lot to remember.
Yeah, there is a lot to remember.
Holy shit, this Street Fighter storytelling game uses most of the basic game mechanics from White Wolf's World of Darkness.
Not surprised.
I think in terms of learning to roleplay, I think that there are... One thing that you can do is a lot of people have posted a lot of different lists out there of, like, questions for your character. So, like, one thing to get people to really understand more role play, like, first of all, I think there are more than two ways, but, like, two of the ways that you can go into playing a TTRPG is you just play yourself with whatever the fantastical powers are, or, like, you play and I think a lot of people play things like Dungeons and Dragons this way, where it's just you now have powers, and it's, that's much more, like, video game based, where there's not so much a personality. It's based on what the player would want to do. And so once the player is ready, first you have to check with the player. Are they ready to move past it? Are they ready to move past it to the idea where they want to actually role play a character, where they want to take on the mantle of a different character? And then, if that's the case, you want to walk them through making their first character and be like, okay, well, what are some of the things that you might want to take into account when you're creating this character? So, like, one of the things is like, what do they base their decisions off of? So, mechanics of whichever particular game you're using can help with this, right? So like stats in D&D can help you say, okay, I'm making a character that is more strength based. So they're more going to be thinking with their muscles, and that's how they're going to make their decisions is based on like what their muscles can do. Or they're more intelligence based, so they're going to be making their decisions less based on if they can, lift this really heavy door, and more about like, is there another way to get through that would use their intelligence? So mechanics like that can help. In masks, the things savior, superior, danger, mundane, and freak all tell you about how the character feels about themselves, how they and how society views them. So that can help a little bit, but you can also just ask, okay, take away all of those mechanics, and the character that you're creating, what are 3 or 4 key history pieces to the history of this character that, make them what they are. So like, if I were to just look at myself, what are some things that help shape me, right? Like I would say, okay, bullied as a kid.
Open tabs.
That has a huge amount on how I relate to the world, is like heavily bullied as a kid. Gifted child also has a huge amount to do with how I view the world. Growing up upper middle class also changes how I interact with the world. And then like a huge amount of empathy. So like I've now distilled a lot of my personality, a lot of my decision making based into 4 facts. So if you can create 4 facts about a person, about what might be driving all of their decisions, their thought processes, and things like that, and then you focus on those 4 things, and then answer their lists of questions that are like, everything from like, what's your favorite color, to would you run towards a shooter or would you hide? You answer a bunch of those. You can like go through and just have that exercise of answering those questions from the point of view. And if someone's learning how to do this, maybe answer that from their own point of view and answer that from their character's point of view, and see how the two are different. And that allows you to start thinking about how you can separate yourself and your character and then play as your character.
I always, for players who are trying to learn, or who are just branching out to playing a character that is opposite of them or whatever, I always tell them to take your favorite video game character, or take your favorite like TV character or movie character or whatever, and pinpoint exactly what you like about them, and then just embody those things. It gives you a really nice touchstone, so you can, instead of like having to pull it all from your own experiences, because some people might be lacking those experiences, it helps them get into that mindset. So like, let's say you're playing a gritty cop. I've never been a gritty cop. I don't fucking know what that's like. However, I do love cop dramas, and I have several characters that I could be like, I want to be like Jennifer Drew from Criminal Minds, because she's a badass and wields gun and is super smart, and I love her. So like, if I was to build a gritty cop, that would be my archetype.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having touchstones is hugely important to be able to kind of go, right, what sort of character, or what, think of anything, think of pop culture, think of anything you've seen, what character do you think you would like to play?
But that's actually also a really good idea. You can do the same thing, the answering of those
Mhm.
listed
Yeah.
questions, as if you're having trouble creating that character, you can practice it by saying, okay, how would Buffy, the vampire slayer, answer
Mhm.
these questions? And how would Scooby-Doo, well,
Mhm.
wait, no, Shaggy, how would Shaggy answer these questions? Because Scooby-Doo, you know, it's going to be a lot of ruh-roh as the answer to most of the things, and that's probably not going to help you.
Mhm.
Like, you know, practice answering as other people to, again, start building that muscle in your brain. If not an actual muscle, but like building those pathways in your brain to play somebody else, to think in somebody else's shoes.
I think you kind of you've touched upon it, but you haven't mentioned it outright. I think when somebody is brand new to the hobby, I think keeping them in the third person
I
is
always tell people, yes, so I'm a third person player. When I'm playing, I'm like, she will walk through the door or they
yeah,
will walk through whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I do that because I get really bad character bleed if I do it from the first person.
yeah,
I will get seriously bad character bleed. So there is a level to like understanding how you are as a player, and you will learn that over time. Little baby players, you will learn that, I promise. And I do recommend trying all the different ways of like approaching a scenario, being like, oh, they are, or hey, I'm going to do blah blah blah.
yeah.
I
And if
recommend
I'm
trying it in different ways.
and
What
if
I
I'm a
tell people,
player, if I'm a player with somebody, I will always address them in the first person.
mhm,
That I don't expect them to answer me anything that they're not comfortable with, but at least if I'm addressing them in the first person, that
yeah, it
will
also depends
start to
if
to
we're
wire those synapses.
in a scene or
Mm,
like if our two characters are interacting. So like for example in Vampire with No Name, our coterie interacts a lot, and my character will address the person by name, be like, Jeremy did blah blah blah, or
yeah,
Ash was doing yada yada yada. And that just helps reaffirm character names for
yeah,
me. But it also pulls them, if like for example if they were on their phone or something while they were off scene, it pulls them back into their character space and gets them at the table.
yeah,
You can also, if you're starting out, you can start by saying, okay, Barbara wants to indicate to this bartender that she's really serious. And I
mm,
think that she does it by doing this. I think she picks the gun up that she's left on the bar, and she
Mhm.
picks it up and she puts it towards him, and she says something like, I don't have a choice in the matter. You have to do what I say, or I'm going to have to do something to you that I don't want to do. And then, so first you're saying what your intention is,
Mhm.
then you're having your character do some actions, and then you're not saying that this is exactly what she says, but you're saying this is something similar to what she says. This is how she's getting the thing across. And so now, you know, you do each thing one at a time. Like you practice each thing, and it's okay if at first you're like, okay, well, Ruby, you know, wants to tell everybody that she thinks the best way to get over the river is this way. And then, you know, you do that for a couple games. And then after that, you say, Ruby says, hey, I noticed that there are these vines over here, and we could use them to tie up those logs that are over there. And just slowly practice getting into that mindset of talking as somebody else.
yeah. I think it is a gradual thing. I don't think anybody kind of comes into the hobby all of a sudden. They're dusting off their old sort of theatre experience and just piling in. I think, you know, I do think there is a subset of people who join this hobby due to certain, you know,
Proclivities.
so yeah, due to certain sort of pop culture
No, never mind. Different than what I was saying.
sort of outlets, and they kind of try and replicate that.
Yes.
Um, certain critical role type players, but which there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, but they do kind of sometimes find themselves slightly out of their depth.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings to one of the things that I love talking about, which is your AP and your home game are two different beasts, and that is a good thing. That is not a bad
100%.
thing. That is a good thing. When you are in a home game, you can spend a lot more time discussing between each other what is the right thing to do. You can posit several different ideas and then choose one and go for it. You can spend an hour talking to Bobo, the goblin artificer, because he is so fucking interesting. And that's fine, because that is the game that you're playing. But when you're in an AP, it is very different. You can't spend too much time to make a good AP. You can't spend that much time hashing out all of your options. You really need to, as a group, go in on one option very quickly, because otherwise you're going to lose your audience in that conversation. And Bobo may not have the information that you need to move the story forward. So a player can't spend that much time like having a full-on conversation about Bobo and learning about his grandmother and his great-grandmother, because that's not moving the story forward. So, anyone who's like, I need to be like an AP. No, you don't.
You really
There
don't.
is so much joy to playing a home game as a home game, to be able to say, you know what, that's right, I messed that up. We're gonna say that it actually happened this way, and oh, you want to change your class, no problem, we can do that. And that whole thing went really sideways, and you didn't realize that the way that you were going to go was going to end up with your whole party killed. Sure, let's back up a little bit.
But it's also good in that respect, in a home game, to be able to even on a narrative aspect, to probably get somebody else's input as well, to kind of go, me as a player, I'm kind of torn between these two options.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with kind of going to your GM. What do you think, or what is your insight on this? And the GM, who has a different sort of perspective, might be able to go, well, to be fair, your character has experienced A, B, and C, and D. Maybe they'd be a bit more inclined to go down this route as opposed to this because of this reason, because they have a overall sort of view of everything that's going on. So you can't really do that in an AP, because you've got to kind of play your character, and you've got to not only play the game, you've got to make it entertaining.
Yeah. I remember in one AP that I was in, which luckily it was just streamed, it was never saved, no one's ever gonna see it again. But we were playing Exalted, and I knew I'm not a lore person, so I knew very, very little about Exalted. So we are on the sea, and we're getting attacked by these people called the Lintha, and I'm like, the information that I have is that the Lintha don't like the Empress. So I'm like, I know what we're going to do. We're going to sail to the Lintha Island, and we're going to get them on our side to take out the Empress. Later on, I find out that no sane person would do that, because they're cannibals, and they eat everybody. And they are not good people that you want to align yourself with. But my GM did not make that clear enough to me. So anybody who's like watching this AP and like knows anything about Exalted is like, this is the craziest. And it literally ended the campaign, because the GM was like, I have no idea where to go from this. Like, you are making friends with the cannibal pirates. Like, I don't understand how to move this forward. Would have been better as a home game.
Right now, you said that, I've got about 7 avenues that could possibly take. I'd be like, yeah, Cannibal Pirate campaign, let's do it.
No Cannibal Pirates, Keating, Spidey.
Yeah. All right, you are all okay. So we're going to roleplay your first consumption of human flesh. Let's see how that plays out.
And this is why people have limits.
Yeah.
But like, okay, for example, this is a great point where like if your character has a limit, but everyone else has like are down to do the do, you can just have your character walk out of the scene.
Yeah, your character
I
doesn't have
love
to be there.
like
Yeah, if
oh,
you get to
everyone
an
else
inn,
is cool with this. I'm not. I'm out. Bye.
if you get to an inn and everyone is eating Aarakocra wings, it is okay for you to say this is cannibalism and walk out.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Please
You're not the weird one for doing that.
No.
I'd still roll with it. I think it'd be fun. You'd be like, yep, let's do it. Okay, that's what you want to
do it in
That's
like
the
a
way to
game
play it.
sense, but it really does squick me in real life. Like the idea of it squicks me so hard, but I could maybe do it in character. Maybe.
You know, if the players wanted to go down that route, let's do it. I am one of those GMs that if you say something and I go, that's going to be fun, I'm in. I don't give a shit how much it derails the campaign. I am in. And it will, it will take the campaign in new, wonderful, and weird directions. But yeah, if you provide me with
the problem with the Lintha. The problem with the Lintha was like they are universally hated by everybody in the world. So you literally don't have anywhere that you can now go. Like it is just you and the Lintha. You can no longer travel anywhere. You can no longer make other allies because everyone else is going to be like, if you go by the lore. And again, this is something where a home game would have been preferable because, we could have spent he could have spent half an hour explaining to me the lore that I didn't know. And then maybe I wouldn't have gone that way. Or we could twist the lore a little bit and be like, oh, they're not that bad. Or we could just backtrack once he realized that he couldn't take it any further.
And I think, it never happened in any APs that I've ever played or hosted or ran or anything like this, but I do know it has happened in some of the APs I've listened to where something akin to that has kind of happened, where the game has either maybe been derailed or maybe gone in a different direction or maybe just not been entertaining and it's been re-recorded because ultimately if you're doing an AP, you're bringing out a product, you are bringing out something for consumption, which is why I'm no longer interested in it. I want to play games. I don't want to,
You don't want to worry about how people are going to react. Yeah, that's for sure.
I couldn't give a fuck about that. I want to play a game. I want to, I don't care if we have to stop. I don't care if we have to go over. Or I don't care if the GM has to kind of go, you can do this, but just so you know.
You can do that. There are people who do streamed games like that where they are basically playing a home game, but they're doing it with the recording on. And if they have one person watching, they're happy. They're like, awesome. Like, we got to share our story with one person. One person thinks it's funny. Oh, one of the players' girlfriends gets to watch it from home. And like, that's good enough.
Which is,
that's fine. Just don't sit there then
Which is the way we did our APs. And I remember when we did the Call of Cthulhu, one of the first things I said to everyone is like, this isn't a performance. We're here to play the game. And don't get me wrong, it was one of the funniest fucking performances we've done on our channel ever. It was absolutely mesmerizing. But yeah, we were never interested in that. But at the same time, the effort that goes into it is, there has to be some turnaround, at least from my perspective. Whereas doing this show, it's easy for me. I get to, log on, talk about TTRPGs for an hour, and that's it. Whereas if we're doing like a 4 to 5 hour recording, then editing has to be involved, and it just got to be too much.
If you just stream, then you're not even editing. Like, there are people who are just like, I'm just streaming my home game. I don't expect anyone to watch. But then you have to know that that's the product that you're making and not have conversations with your cast about, maybe one day we can play at, like, a con. It's like, no. Nobody likes watching us. We're just doing it for ourselves. Accept that and love it.
Yeah, and that's why, for me, if I'm doing it for myself, it's going to be a home game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, okay, so I play in a fair share of like home games and like APs. I think I'm actually at a lovely balance right now. That's about to change, but that's okay. Where I have 2 APs and 2 home games. One of my home games is ending, which will be replaced with an AP, but that's okay. And then I've got, but like my home game, so like in my home game, I can explore themes that I wouldn't bring
Yeah.
to a game. No. Like the game, the character that had custom dice made, first off, these dice are fucking gorgeous.
Yeah,
Look
let's
at
have a
that.
look. Oh, they're pretty. Yeah, definitely.
Like,
Yeah,
like them.
very nice.
like, look at those.
They're amazing.
Gorgeous. But her story is quite dark. It's not great, and it could be really triggering and traumatic for some people, which is, again, a theme that I can explore with her outside of an AP and not traumatize an audience. Because I love not traumatizing an audience. Now, if you're going to listen to Vampire with No Name, you're going to get traumatized, but you're signing up for that.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, I can talk about it. My character's a fucking ego terrorist. Like,
That's actually another really good point, is one thing to know when you're making home games. So this is true for APs and home games, is that you need to know what kind of tone you want to play in, and everybody needs to agree.
Yeah.
But like, if it's just like, if everybody but you is coming into it like, we're playing on a Thursday night, I just want to unwind from work and beat up some orcs, and you come in and you're like, I need to explore this deep, dark, traumatic story, it's gonna suck for everybody. And I am telling you this from personal experience. I think I have mentioned this
You
game
have, yeah.
before. Yeah. So just make sure that you're finding like, and it's easier now where you don't have to play with just the people that you find down the street. You can find there are lots of different places online where you can look for groups that have the same kind of interests as you. And that's actually one of the, I think one of the fun things about like, watching APs is that if you find an AP that you like, that means that you can find other people who like the same thing, and then it's easier to find a group that is going to gel together, that is ready to tell the same kind of story. But like, don't be afraid to, once you've learned how to role play, once you've learned what kind of story you want to tell, don't be afraid to, let's say you've worked with somebody, right, and they've helped you get into this role play mindset and all of that. Don't be afraid to say thank you so much for this opportunity, for helping me this far. Now I want to tell a story that I don't think that you and I align on. But like, there's no love lost. Like, it's great to have been able to help someone find something, but then go find the table that's going to help you tell the story that you want to tell.
Yeah. I mean,
it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, and there's, like you said, there's no love lost. It's no sort of it's not an insult to turn around and kind of go, yeah, this game's no longer for me, or this system, I don't want to play this system anymore. I'm not interested in this game. I've found a new table, I want to kind of go there, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think a lot of times, especially with new players, you find that is an impediment, because it does. They are under the impression that, oh, okay, well, I've signed up for this table, so I'm going to have to sit through this table regardless of what happens and what gets played. And, tables change, people evolve, people's tastes change. There's nothing wrong from walking away. And I think that is a big thing for new players to learn as well.
It's hard. But I am of the mindset where there will always be another table, and it's better to wait to have that good experience instead of trying to force it and have a bad.
Yeah, it's 100%. Hard, but there is joy in finding the table that is right for you, that lets you tell the story together, that brings you a lot of joy or catharsis or, whatever feeling that you're searching for. I think that all of us want that for each other, to find the right table
Mhm.
for them to get to
Yeah.
do what they want. And in the meantime, there are solo games too. If you just want to practice role playing or practice telling like a really compelling, quiet story for yourself, there is like a huge host of solo games. And don't think that they are really good avenues to be able to hone all of your skills.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've never actually played a solo game.
I played one for the first time as part of, on Game Master Monday, we had a stream series of one shots where each of us played a different solo game from a collection of games called Ghast, and they were all horror games. The one I played was called Red Skies, and it was based off of the video game Dredge, which I really like. And it was a very cool experience, and it's something that I want to do in the future to really help make my GMing skills better.
Yeah.
Not in terms of, because I have really good skills in terms of talking with the players and reacting to the players, looking at players' strengths, bringing those to the forefront, shoring up weaknesses, reacting to it, improving, all of that. Sorry, I'm a little full of myself. I'm good at that. Some of the story creation I struggle with.
Right.
And so for me, that's what I can focus on while I'm doing a solo.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I mean, you can, because I've been looking into maybe picking up some like not necessarily designed solo games and probably using, I think they're called Oracle tables or something, just because I've got so many games that I want to play. And, at least I want to have that experience of playing them, even if it is, playing them on my own, because it's easier than setting up a table every time I want to play one of the thousands of games that I've got. So, yeah, I will look at that's something I intend to look into in the new year. Just doing that, stealing myself away for a few hours and just playing an adventure, whether it's World of Darkness, whether it's anything that I've always wanted to play and not had the chance to do so.
Yeah, I love telling really dark, fucked up stories. The more I tell them, the more I'm like, oh, I kind of want to do this more though. Like, I have more dark things that I could talk about. Oh, this is touches me in like all of the right warm fuzzy ways, which you shouldn't get from like a dark story. But like,
I disagree. I
have
think it's totally fine.
okay, but like, yeah, I've been kind of kicked around by life and like touched by the uglier sides of it. So like, being able to tell these kind of stories is cathartic for me.
Yeah.
It's
What are your 4? I gave you my 4. What are your 4?
Repeat my 4 what? Sorry.
Your 4. I gave you 4 things that I think of that like helped create me. You don't have to share them.
okay.
Witty. I did not grow up in a wealthy family. I didn't even I, like, economics is weird and hard and fucked up. Capitalism is not kind. And traumatized. I hate to say it. It's the truth though. Again, I've lived a hard life. So I don't mind telling those stories because like I've been through it. Now I'm just like, this is cathartic. So instead of, dealing with the horrible situations that I had to deal with and I couldn't do anything about, now I'm like, oh, you want to do this to me? Well, I'm going to set you on fire.
100%.
Which I think is an appropriate response in all sort of.
The slightest inconvenience, we just burn it down, right? Like that's what we do.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I see that as a perfectly justified and reasonable response. So, I'm trying to think of my 4 things. I don't know what did win me.
Do you think being a Spaniard in the UK?
Yeah.
I think being dual nationality has definitely provided me with adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
that's a good word.
I think being able to adapt to my surroundings and be sort of chameleonic in nature kind of probably does stem from that. Probably does stem from that. I think, obviously, I've come from a more working class sort of background. I think the service industry has definitely shaped me
Yeah.
and kind of added on to that sort of ability to adapt and mold and fit myself into wherever I need to be.
I'm 100% one of those people that believes everybody should have should have experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think
a service class type field.
I think the ability to be able to read people and the ability to be able to meet people on their level is something that can't be understated, and it's something that does require a lot of practice and a lot of training. So that, and I think one thing that has defined me in my life is probably my previous addictions.
Oh, for sure.
That would 100%.
Harper's traumatized. That goes underneath that.
So yeah, I think this ended up being a lot more introspective than we expected. Thank you, Zoop.
Hey, next week, get to know
Next
us
week
on a
we're
very
gonna
deep personal level.
on this episode we are gonna make each other cry.
Yeah.
I do that all the time at like my home table. I have made them cry.
Is that through fear or just through
No, through sadness. I hit them in the feels so hard.
Nice.
I was like, you have a soft tender spot? Let me stick my finger in there and wiggle it.
Well,
I love the high pitch. Wiggle it.
oh yeah,
I just want a clip of that just to randomly throw at people.
You've got it. It will be up on YouTube as a short.
Nice.
100%. And I think on that note, it is about time we brought this to a close. It's been absolutely fantastic catching up with you. So, if guys, just advertise. Time to plug.
Listen, it's the end of the year. I don't know. You can find me Game Master Monday. Love talking to y'all here. You know about Convention Zero. That's coming sometime in the spring. Let's play a game sometime. You want to play a game? You hit me up.
Fantastic. What about you, Misfit?
I am everywhere. Hi. I'm Misfit. I'm everywhere. Follow me. It's much easier for you to follow me on the socials to keep track of what I'm doing instead of me trying to remember everything that I do because, like, oh god, I do too much. I will say Vampire with No Name is out. We have several episodes out. They're phenomenal. We're very proud of the work we do. So go ahead, give that a listen. Would love you for it. And I will be doing a lot of stuff in the future with the Old Ways podcast.
Amazing. I think because next year is going to be the first episode of 2026, next week, sorry, I think we should do two things. I think we should do New Year's resolutions, tabletop role-playing game related resolutions, and I also think we should do best of 2025. I think best and worst of 2025 and New Year resolutions. I think that should be next week's episode. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me
Hope
too.
you're all here for it.
All right. As for me, you can follow me on most of the socials. I am trying to be a bit more active these days. Not entirely succeeding, but we'll see what happens in the new year. It may be a New Year's resolution. So come catch us next week where we'll be talking about those resolutions. We'll also be bringing our favorite things TTRPG related for 2025. We won't worry about our least favorite things. We don't do negativity. We can't be fucked. So I do want to say thank you to Zoop and Misfit for joining me this evening. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. It's great to see you guys. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. And look forward to seeing you in 2026. And most of all, thank you to everyone who's taken time out of their busy day to listen to us waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much. Good night.
Bye. Bye.